Blessings, everyone. We are live. I'm just uh, breathing and welcoming Marsha, Paulette, and Chason for our amazing session. So, Marsha, you can begin.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this Thursday. This is our fourth day of live events, and they have been absolutely impactful with all of our wonderful speakers. And today, we have a wonderful speaker named Chason. So I'm so excited for this conversation today. Thank you for joining us. Who am I? My name is Martha Lobos Amaya. I am the founder of Connect Impact Hub. Why are we having these events? To bring awareness, to speak about our homeless community members, and to also raise funds for our nonprofit Connect Impact Hub. So please share, please join. And I am so looking forward to just having this conversation. Any comments, any questions you may have, please go ahead and just post them here on LinkedIn or also on YouTube. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Chason for an introduction, and then Paulette and Ali. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's fantastic work that you're doing, Martha. And as I said prior to jumping on, I love Ali. There's no way you can't love Ali. He just brings so much excitement and love and positivity. So it's easy to love on Ali. But it was great to look up Paulette's You're killing me. It was great to look up Paulette's books and see what wonderful work she was doing as well, because I wasn't familiar. But kudos to you, Paulette. Thank you for what you do. My name is Chason Forehand. I'm the founder of HR for You Incorporated. We are a 501c3 charitable nonprofit based in New York. And our goal is to work in an advocacy point of view to bring awareness to leaders in all different areas, how to pour into your people and put your people first in your business. And then that has translated to us increasing our programs to put boots on the ground and try to open up our very first transformation kitchen. I come from a culinary background, so I would love to have our first training facility open where we teach power skills, life skills, culinary skills, and pay people a living wage at the end of this while they are helping us feed the food insecure and food deserts. So that is a huge, huge, crazy goal that we have to get this up and running by the end of the year. But we're moving forward in that direction. Dr. New, I see her in the comments. She is one of our advisory board members and one of our great partners. So it's great to have her here. I see Jane in the audience as well. I know my wife is in the audience. So thank you so much for this time, and thank you for allowing me to have an introduction.
Thank you so much. Woo, can't wait to get into this conversation. Paulette, please.
So Paulette Hallam, I'm ex-corporate girly. I left corporate world nearly 10 years ago now and became a full-time mum. Then I became a counsellor and a therapist to try and help my son with autism, and he was struggling terribly, and we thought we were going to lose him at one time. And so we did everything, and I did everything I could, every book I could read to help get him through the bullying and the horrible time he had. And then he managed to work his way through that horrendous situation, and now is at university. And yes, he needs us, but just for the occasional call or money. Really, he's an independent young man, and it's fantastic and it's wonderful, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I miss him terribly. I needed something to do. I was going into schools, talking to them as a therapist about problem solving, and looking at how children see problems and how they worry, and then the worries get bigger and they don't know how to handle them. And so I started doing that, and then realized that I needed to go to every school in the land, and then every other land, and all around the world, and realized there was only one of me and Charlotte. So we talked about the idea of writing books so we could actually reach the world. And we know the problems. We all are aware of what these areas, these key problem areas are. So it's dealing with new home, it's dealing with a new school, it's dealing with a bereavement, it's dealing with all these key areas. So we are handling every single one of them, even the news, how to handle the news, how to talk to children about the news. And it's all done through using your inner voice, which is water. So it's a great way for kids to understand. And actually, there are a lot of deficits in adult education. And when they are reading and working through these books with the children, it self-soothes them as well because it helps them heal their own wounds. So it's a really, really impactful story we're being told. So yes, very excited. And I have just become a partner of yours, sir. And we'll be getting some books over to you and we'll go on from there. So lovely to be here.
Thank you, Paulette, so much. Ali, please.
Well, my name is Oli from Belgium, and I embark in these adventures thanks to Marsha, and I'm really happy to contribute to raise awareness also to community members. I am a neuro language coach, and I pay really attention about words more and more. I'm a warrior, the warrior of words. And language is so important. So that's why when Marsha told to reframe homeless people to community members, it makes sense because it's not like it's reframing. I was listening about the drama triangle. It's really reframing the drama triangle so that we place community members as vulnerable people and not anymore as victims. And that's really important in my heart. And so that's why in mental health is also important. So I think this is a global problem. Of course, your mission goes to US, to Houston, but this is a global problem for every place in the world, city, village, and it's like we have to tackle the root cause. So that's why it's really I decided to say yes when it comes to support Marsha. And I gave a donation, and also I love to bring my time, my energy, my share. So feel free, everyone, to share. You are also able to see that on replay days, weeks, or months after. And I truly believe that this is the moment where it starts and where we can all make a little action that has a lot in their heart when we are doing these actions for them. So that's my share. Thank you so much, Marsha.
Thank you so much, Ali, for that wonderful introduction. You and Paulette have certainly been here from day one, and there's many wonderful people that are here probably in the audience that I can't see. So thank you all. But definitely my driving force, Paulette holding my hand, Ali, encourage, go, go, go. So here we are. So thank you so much for acknowledging the words like community members. Thank you for that, Ali. So I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Paulette, beautiful introduction, by the way. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge you as well. Hello, Dr. New. I see you in the comments. We will definitely please ask any questions as we continue with this conversation because it's definitely a hot topic. So, Chason, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. So, for all of us that may not know like your story, please share a little bit about your background with us for a little bit so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Sure. Well, this is something that is still very uncomfortable for me. So you see me squeezing on my my squeeze thing, but it's something that I'm working on because even as I approach 60, my wife just turned 60 April 24th, and I'm not so far behind her. And even to this time period, and even though I like the person staring back at me in the mirror, There are things in my childhood, things from my trauma, things from that created the situations that I ended up not being okay with myself and took some wrong turns. So I'm a drug addict. I will be clean 33 years this May. And it took a lot to get to a place where I asked for help because I was embarrassed. My family doesn't talk about these kinds of things. So until last year, I didn't ever talk about this. I mean, even in front of other family members. And now here I am, talking about it openly and talking about those things that created some of the missteps that I took and how I got through those things and why we're doing what we do now. And it really gets down to being able to be okay with the person that's staring back at you in the mirror, to realizing step one. And I talked about this multiple times over the last week, ironically. Step one in a 12-step program is understanding that you are powerless over your addiction and that you need help from a higher power, whatever that is to you. For me, I'm a person of faith, so it means something dear to me, but you need help. And you've got to reach out to other people because you can't control it yourself. You're failing on your own. And that's step one. And so many people can't get to that step to take that. And it ends up creating other situations for them. I ended up homeless for a time period. I ended up losing everything that I had. I ended up ruining relationships with my family, with friends, burning bridges everywhere. And that led me into a path where I found some chefs that put me under their wing, that saw the potential in me as a young man and gave me a chance, gave me a second chance, gave me a third chance in some cases, and allowed me to shine and allowed me to grow. And that led me into this crazy field by accident of being in human resources because, back in the day, human resources in the culinary world, and unfortunately, even sometimes today in 2024, human resources is having a come to Jesus meeting out back by the dumpsters. There's no real HR work being done. But I wanted to know more and I wanted to learn what I didn't know. And when people were asking me to train others and people were asking me to hire and people were asking me to have courageous conversations with other employees because they weren't doing what they wanted them to do and what that looked like, how do we correct behaviors? All of that's part of human resources. I just didn't know it. So I started learning, I started taking classes, I started to do more work, ended up creating my own HR company. And now what we do in that HR company is only work with social good entities to help them with their HR needs. It's all by word of mouth. I don't do any marketing. I don't actively seek. It's about 30% of my work, 70% of my work is taking that addictive personality, because addictive personalities move, they just shift. So I've taken that energy and that excitement and that focus, and I've turned it and morphed it to focus on the nonprofit. So in 2022, at the end of 2022, we got our 501c3 approval from the IRS, and we just started running. And all last year, which is really only our first year, we started branding. We started really honing in our message. We started looking at our programs and how can we do better and how can we really obtain and focus on actionable change. How can we affect leadership and empower them to do the right things? How can we have messages with people from all around the world and get them to understand that people matter and put people first, and then use our programs as we grow to do even more boots on the grounds types of things. So this is that journey, and it all started with just some poor hockey kid that didn't know any better and just made some mistakes in his life early on. So
wow. What an impressive background. And look at where you're at now. Wow. Um, Thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable here with us, Chason. I am really sure that whoever is watching here today, or even the replay, they're going to get inspired by your share. I'm inspired by you, and I'm so thankful we got to connect. And then we're going to go ahead and jump over to Paulette, and then we'll start the conversation. Paulette, please.
So really, from my perspective, all I can see and all I can hear about is children in cars, children who they're not homeless because they've got a car. I'm sorry, when did a car become a home? So they don't count as homeless because they've got a roof over their heads, but it happens to be the roof of a car. So for me, that is shocking. And in 2024, in one of the richest countries in the world, that is pretty damn scary. Don't think you're the only country. We've got countries throughout the world, throughout the land, who have got similar problems. But I think the US, because of the size of the US and because of all the different states, and everybody's got different legislation and different rules and different regulations, to see all these people camped out in fields and then being moved on every so many days, and then if they don't go they get citations, and then if they don't pay them they end up in jail. And one guy said, I've never been to jail in all my life, and I've been to jail 3 times this year just because he keeps getting moved on from where he was camping and things like that. I've heard and reading about cars parked in the Target car park because they know there are cameras above looking at the car park, and they feel safe at night going to sleep with the doors locked and the children in the boot of the car sleeping. And to me, that is absolutely horrific. But I'm told they're the lucky ones because they've got the car. The people who are in the tents are even greater risk, and they try to create these communities where all the cars are parked side by side, so that they've all got their spot under the cameras, so they don't lose their tires and they don't lose their wheels and they don't get bashed at the middle of the night and all this kind of stuff. And then we hear about the people that are literally homeless. And, I don't want to see children taken away from parents just because they don't have a roof over their heads. I don't want social workers to feel that that is the reason. Let's find a reason and a way to keep that family together, because it's not a bad parenting, it's circumstance. One of the families that were interviewed that I watched, they were both working. So 2 parents are working and they're saving every penny so they can. I think we spoke about this yesterday. They need to raise 6 months down payment for rent because they've missed a payment and they've been evicted. So, children are being taken off of families and taken into care because this is not deemed as safe or fair or right. But this is not a choice. And this is what we were trying to say yesterday. Homelessness is not a choice. Being hungry is not a choice. Living on the streets is not a choice. And we need to do something that makes people aware that these things are not choices. And we can help and we will help. We'll do everything we can to help. But these are not choices, and we have to understand that people are talking about voting these people into parliament or this person into parliament in your country, and saying that they'll get rid of all the tents and I'll get rid of all the people on the streets. Where are they going to go? If there aren't the housing opportunities for them to go now, where are they going to go? The hotels won't take them. And if they will, they won't take them with their pets. And we've just spoken about how important pets are to us.
Right.
So, it's so much of that I want to find out the answers to, not just for your country, but for every country. because I will be doing the same calls and the same things in countries throughout the world, because it's become a real passion of mine, because it's got to be changed. We've got to do something about it.
Mhm.
So that's my thoughts, Martha. What about you?
Thank you. You know, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about the work that Chason does with HR in organizations, because really it does become, you know, the human interaction, having that relationship. So Chason, can we touch a little bit base, like exactly like how do you help organizations? Because this is like such a great topic to have, and particularly like industries such as healthcare. I know you've heard me speak about that before. The hospitality, the transportation. I mean, we have all these big organizations that are working with communities, but there's not a lot of internal resources. So how does your program stand out? Like, how do you assist? How can we get you into these locations to serve, right? It's really like the ultimate, because what we're doing is preventing homelessness, preventing these families from ending up on the streets. Right now, people don't want to speak up. So please, if you can just shed some light on that for us to understand a little bit more coming from your perspective, because I don't have any knowledge and we're here to learn. Thank
No,
you.
you guys have made some really fantastic points. And I think when you break it down, there's a lot of great work that's being done in and around the unhoused and homeless communities. And where we plant our flag is that I think it's great when we do the work of feeding these community members, and we give them blankets and clothing, etc. Those things, though, don't solve the issues. They're great programs. They're fantastic. The people need the blankets. They need the jackets. They need the food. But it's Band-Aids. The real issue is, how do we get to a place where people are not on the streets and never got to that place? How can we empower them and empower employers to pay living wages so mom and dad can actually afford and never get evicted? They can take care of themselves. They can take care of their families. They can take care of their fur babies. We don't, and man, I want to address this, but I will get on a soapbox, and we don't have enough time for that. The
I understand.
system for how we separate families and how that social work is so broken, especially in the United States. It's horrific. So we need to keep families together. We need to hone in on giving them the tools and resources where they are empowered, and this doesn't happen. So, I saw in the comments, Jane asks, what is your biggest pain point with advocacy? I can almost talk. I think it's convincing leaders that if they only care, if your only focus is, I made this business to make money. Okay, that's fair enough. You created a business, you want to make money, you want to have profits. The best way that you can create profits is to pour into your people. Take care of your people, pay your people a living wage. They will stay with you longer. They will be more productive. They will care about the work that they're doing. And you don't have to take this scarred up old hockey dude's word for it. You can look at Harvard. You can look at Cornell. You can look at Money Magazine. You can look at Forbes. You can look, the data is already there. And so the biggest pain point for me is to actually get those hardcore old school leaders who are like, no, people are expendable. We'll just lay off 5,000 and then we'll bring on a couple hundred here and there. And it's, they are just a byproduct. People aren't something that's important. They become a byproduct. And when people don't matter like that, when they're just pieces on a chessboard, it's just a game, then we end up with people on the streets, in their cars, in tents, because they have no other choice, because they've exhausted all of their options. Look at the people with MBAs and PhDs that are taking 6 months, 8 months, a year to find a job. And they've gone through and they've paid people to get, their resume, get everything done. And they've got their resume. It looks fantastic. They've got all these degrees. They got all this stuff going on for them, and they still can't get a job. So imagine someone like this guy who flunked out of college because I was full-blown addict. I mean, I got asked to leave the premises. Here, you either leave or we're going to arrest you. I had nowhere to go. And I was just a mess. So literally, we have to do a better job of providing resources so that people can empower themselves. And we also need to have more leaders that understand the power of pouring into people and what that means and what that looks like. So when we say we've got 80 partners in 5 countries that work with us to teach leaders how to be better. Whether it's DEIAB work, whether it's culture work, whether it's whatever it is, human resource, it doesn't matter what it is. We've got all of these things, conflict resolution. We have all of these things covered. You need help? I can refer you to someone who's a lot smarter than me. And that is the power of creating this community of advocates that believe that people should be first, and people over everything is not just a hashtag. It's got to be a way of life.
Carnegie says people are the root of all successful businesses. Look
Absolutely.
after the people and the business will look after itself. And that, I think, is exactly what you just said. Look after the people and the business will look after itself.
It's proven over and over and over and over again. I'm going to call her out, Nick. She goes by Nick, the BGW, gifted bipolar writer, GBW, Nick, the GBW. I love her to death. She's fantastic. And she works for Island Elevator, and they're in Long Island, and they're a company that pours into their people. And you could see it over and over again, and all their people talk about it, and they've been there for long periods of time. You see it in the actions, and the people will talk about that company, and that company thrives because the people stay. They don't want to go anywhere. They love what they're doing. They love the company. They are more productive. They're happy workers, and it has a rippling effect. Yeah. People, I think that's the crazy thing, is that it's not just about your company. When you do that, you have this rippling effect on the employees, their families, their communities, and it just ripples beyond that. So yeah, and I love Jane's comment as well. I am all about local. I want to go to a local coffee shop. I want to get local coffee. I want to spend my money and my dollars when I do into those in my community, and that really helps. It makes a big difference.
I think Ollie wanted to share something. Ollie, please.
Well, I was not going to. My first reaction, my first reaction at hot is that I need to find my uplifting energy, because if I'm hearing what I'm thinking, it's like, what if we are telling our people in power that are deciding for us, oh, I'm going to confiscate your seat, and you are going to be having a seat elsewhere on the street, instead of your parliament or your government seat. So that's what's happening with community members. They are sitting somewhere, and then a business owner or an office is saying, not in my backyard. So what if we confront the people in power that are sitting with a warm chair, with a warm salary? Well, we are going to confiscate your salary. We are going to confiscate your car. It's tough, I know. But if there is the only way at the end to make change is to bring pain so that they understand. I was recalling a few years ago, there was a TV emission like Live My Life, where the CEO of a company were able to live a day at the shoes of a frontline employee on the low level to really understand what does it look like to live their lives. So what if we are really confronting those people that we elect once in a decade, or I just joke, but to confront them that they are really in warm seats while other people are in the street struggling to survive. So that I'm boiling, I know, but I need to calm down. But this is my reaction. We need to make a change because it's going to be worse and worse, and we have to envision a world that is more positive and that we can all do our work. But if there are people out there in their cold tower that could also do their work, it would be amazing. So that's my insight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ollie. I completely feel the energy. I feel it. And this is why this is important. We're having these conversations. I'm in Houston. Paulette, where are you located?
Cambridgeshire, London.
And Chason, I know you said this before, but could you say it one more time?
Yeah, I'm in a little town called Newburgh, New York.
Okay. And Ollie?
Belgium.
You see where we're all located in different parts, and we're coming together to have these conversations because we're seeing what's happening. Like you said, Ali, is definitely has to start with, the people that are leading our organizations. And that's why Chason is here. Chason, I definitely want to have more conversations because I'm so supportive of the movement that you're doing when it comes to the HR department and how to support, the people that are working. I've had many situations with our clients, community members, where they've been told they're going to get a job and then they show up and they've been told, oh no, we found someone that's going to charge us cheaper. I mean, yet they got ready, they had to get gas in their car, they're barely making ends meet, and they're being told, oh, sorry, we don't need you anymore. And so recently we had a situation with DoorDash where our community member is living in his car. He's not making ends meet. He's living with his fur baby, can't find a shelter. DoorDash has no assistance that they can provide their independent contractors. So this is such a hot topic, but we have to start somewhere, and these conversations are so important to be having. And yes, we are having conversations. This is a lot of talk, but behind the scenes, there's actions that are being taken into place, because we can have these conversations all day long. But yes, we need action. And how does that start? It starts with each one of us. What are we doing in our own communities? What are you doing? And I know I'm passing out care bags. I'm assisting through Nextdoor app. I'm getting ready to launch here in Houston in person, on foot. That's why we're having these conversations as I'm fundraising for our mobile van. But we still need more support. So yes, I'm going to be knocking on those doors. I'm going to be sending messages, but we need your help. We have a big crisis, and it's going to get worse as our baby boomers are moving into retirement. So I just started hearing about this here recently, but it's starting to grow. It's on the news now. So I'm definitely asking you to please start supporting even your local organizations if you can go and volunteer. Chason, going back to the conversation of what you do, you also are, I know you mentioned you're assisting as well with training, like job training. Can you talk a little bit about that so that we can all learn a little bit more about that program as well?
Sure. One of the things that that I've been part of with other nonprofits is a system where we train people in culinary skills. What I felt like when I was in those programs is that there were some things that we could do better. And when I say better, I mean differentiate ourselves, because there's a lot of places all around in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, all around us that train people. But there's three major differences. I held up for it, but there's three major differences to what we want to do. And this is a program we're creating. This is the last, we have 6 programs. This is boots on the ground for everything else that we have done. And we don't have the doors open yet. We are having a hard time finding the right space to go in to actually start this. And every time I get down into the nitty gritty and start talking to landlords, and they find out where we're going to be, where the students are coming from. And, these are people that are working through addictions. These are people that have been incarcerated. I've literally been shut down. Like, no, I don't want these people in my building. And I'm like, do you understand what we're doing and how we're going to empower these people to move forward? But I mean, I have, it is, whether it's a struggle of they want more money than we can afford, or they don't want this type of clientele. It's the struggle of getting the space. But once we have the space and we've got all our funding in place, because we're almost there, then we're just going to run. And what this is about is teaching culinary skills, life skills, like how do I balance my budget? How do I understand how to write a check and keep up with personal finances? To power skills, like how do I interview? How do I create a resume? And then making a living wage with the kitchen itself as it grows and opens up as a fast casual restaurant, and a global garden that we have plans for called Gardens of Hope, which is going to be teaching composting and gardening and how Mother Nature is so fabulous and how we can use and work off the land. And then also connecting with other culinary partners so that we can get living wage jobs if they are not employed by the kitchen itself, but employed by other people that are like, hey, I'm going to pay them X number of dollars. And we secure those deals. Past that as well, while they're in this training, it's 3 months worth of training, 9 to 2, Monday through Friday. They still can work after that. We'll still help them and assist them with certain things in the program themselves. But we want to have the ability to have them learn about community, and they will help us feed food deserts and the food insecure while they're in the program. And then beyond that, we are working to try to get scholarships for them for higher education, where once per quarter, at least, we have one student that is going to move beyond. It's like, hey, I really want to learn more about the culinary world, about getting my degree and having all of their books and everything covered, so they can go in. They don't have to worry about finances. They can just go, learn, grow, thrive, and bloom. So I'm working on that as well. All of these pieces, it's a lot of pieces. It's a lot of pieces to put into place, but we are committed. We're committed to doing it. And for every door that closes, another one opens. And that's what we just keep plugging. We just, like you said, we just keep knocking on the door. And as soon as we get a couple of these pieces into place, we're just going to run.
Wow. So, Chason, is there an age group that you're going to be focusing on, or is it open to everybody?
It's really open to everybody. We see probably 18 to 40. That's kind of a broad range, but it's 18 to 40 because we are going to focus in. We are focusing in on 3 communities. The underserved community is got multiple facets, but I'm in a town that's primarily Black and brown and needs this to happen. They need living wages. New York State, 50% of the workers in New York State make below a living wage. In my town, it's closer to 60%, 30% poverty rates. Anything over 20% poverty, it's like, and I know Houston, I mean, I've lived in Houston. I know some of the struggles in Houston. And I know where some of that stems from. But I will say that we've got pockets of communities that need help all around the world. Yeah. And we've got to start out by doing the things that create that. So our advocacy, we really want to focus on leaders. We want to talk to leaders. We want to get them to understand. We shine a light on who's doing well. Like I mentioned, Island Elevator. We shine a light on the employers that get it, and on the people that get it, and on the leaders that are breaking down barriers and stigmas and biases. And then our boots on the ground is like, okay, we're going to take all of this and we're going to just do. Just like what you're doing, Martha. You're doing. I'm raising this. I'm raising awareness. I'm doing the advocacy, but I'm also getting out and I'm doing the work because that's where actionable change starts to happen.
Right. It's so interesting how your life leads you into your path, right, Paulette and Ollie? Because I would have never found myself saying, "Oh, I'm here doing what I'm doing now," if I wouldn't have left my home to find this journey. I did advocacy in New York, so I understand very well what the resources looked like there and the shelters and the frustration between the community members. So to hear what you're going to be offering in the community, it's really inspiring. And it just gives people that hope that they can get back on their feet and there is support. So thank you for sharing. Paulette, Ollie, I don't want to be hogging the mic up. Please share anything, any questions you may have, or anyone in the audience. If you have any questions, please.
For me, I think I'm super, super excited that we're not just listening to people say, we'll get rid of the tents, you know. It's like over here, oh, we'll get rid of the boats. It's just one of those, like, something you say to hope to gain votes, you know. We'll get rid of the tents. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of that. You can't get rid of a problem without a solution. And, you know, what you're talking about, Chase, is absolutely that. We have this problem. We're coming up with solutions. And when you go into a company and you say that and you're able to get through to them, look, this is exactly what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This is why you should do it. And I get that that is a really compelling story and a compelling argument. And Martha, that's what we have to have when we're talking to companies. We have to be as compelling as Chase is with his story so that we can actually get through the door to start with, but then get the support, because I do think there's an awful lot of people that just put the blinkers on and just go, I can't see it. No, it's not happening. It doesn't. If I drive that way, I don't notice it, you know, and I don't know quite how long you can hide from it. I don't know how long you can just keep pretending to be blind to it. So I'm just hopeful. I'm so hopeful that things like you're doing will become sort of I don't want them to become the norm because I want the problem to be solved. But if we could, you know, duplicate your kind of programs, you know, around every single area, then gradually the problem diminishes. It doesn't go away, it diminishes. We're not going to get it to go away until we build thousands and thousands of low-cost housing. And that doesn't mean cheap, you know, somebody was suggesting 40-foot trailers would do the job, you know. Old 40-foot trailer lorries would be a great way of, you know, I'm like, for goodness sake, you make someone feel like rubbish already, and now you put them in a trailer that's just been, you know, barely renovated to make it into a home, and you think that's acceptable. If you want to break someone, that's the way to break them, you know, to finally break them, to show them that's what you think they're worth. So to me, it's about whoever's in government, whoever's in parliament, over there, over here, in France, in Belgium, in whatever country, in Germany, whoever's in power in any of these countries have got to come up with solutions. They can't just go, oh, there's a problem. We'll talk about that next week. It's just getting worse. Do you not agree?
No, absolutely. The biggest issue with the issue is having people that want to take the measures to actually fix the problem and create it. What we see more than not, at least in New York and other places, we see more band-aids. We see more, well, we'll move people, or we'll do this, or we'll create this, or we'll put this law into place, or we'll do that. That becomes rhetoric. It's just as bad as saying, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to say, hey, we're going to do this, and I never do it. Then that just becomes more rhetoric. Actionable change takes action. The entirety of that statement, actionable change, has the word action in it for a reason. And you have to take that action, and you have to do the research and be willing to move beyond these barriers and empower people and put them first in order to create the situation where we are going to move beyond it. We want to have a transformation kitchen in, everywhere. We were going to partner with people. I've got people in Kenya. I got people in the UK. I got people in Canada that are like, let's do this now. I'm like,
Houston.
hey, can we do one first, and then we'll worry. Let's get one up and running, and then we'll worry about where we go next. But I would love it. And Houston, I'm familiar with Houston.
Houston in California. Yes, let's do it. Ali, would you
LA.
like to share? Yeah. Ali, any insights here from you?
Well, what I think is it's really interesting. I love this conversation. We are 8, 9 on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and 1 on YouTube. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, and Michelle for being there. For me, it's like communicating vases. Anywhere where there is an issue, it's contaminating the rest. We see with climate change, with migration, forced migration. We see with labor exploitation in countries where people are not having enough income, and they move in another country, like the American dream or whatever, or the European dream. But I see also in each country there is like this issue of people cannot sustain their 9 to 5 jobs, so or they lose their job, and it creates ripple effects. Like people are not able to cope. They are having addiction, alcoholism, or drugs. And guess what? They need drugs, so they are dealers, and they are dealers, so they are gangs. They are gangs. They are violence. Like there are some gun violence also in Brussels sometimes. Not really really less than US, but sometimes yes. So it's like everywhere where there is a problem, it's contaminating the rest. It's like thinking, oh, it's okay, there is shit, but it's going to be contained. No, when there is shit somewhere, sorry for being, pardon my French, let's say like that, but when there is a problem somewhere, it's contaminating the rest. So it's not a band-aid will not get rid of the SHIT. So that's my insight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. So I have a question to ask you, Chason, since you have a nonprofit. What would be I've heard a lot of conversations with ending homelessness, right? I've been watching Finland, who has actually controlled that. So there's the solution because they got their government involved.
Yep.
So we know that we can end homelessness if we have that support, right?
Yep.
But if we're working together, I just want to get your insight here. Like, we're running nonprofits, so how can we all come together? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there are other countries that are a lot further along in their political process as far as they are not so conflicted and so there's not this situation where party lines
Divisive.
yeah, they're not so divisive. There's no party lines that are creating that they work together. I think there are other countries that have figured out that government really should be about the people and working together to create them. In what we do, what you do, what I do, what we're all trying to do in the nonprofit world or social good entities, I just want to encourage people to get involved. It doesn't have to be with me. It doesn't have to be with you. It can be with whoever is in your local area that you just feel passionate. Everyone needs help. So find something that you're passionate about as a human being. That may be taking care of animals. That may be helping with the homeless or the unhoused. It may be feeding other people. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever your passion is, take that time, an hour a week, a couple hours a month, get involved, find out more about the organizations and figure out, plug yourself in. People ask me on a daily basis, how can I help you, Chason? And I said, plug in. Find out what we do. I'll give you all the resources. I'll show you our flyers. I'll show you the website. I'll tell you all the stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to plug in. You got to want to do it. You got to want to be part. You got to take actionable steps. So the biggest way for people to get involved is to become partners, to care, to do the work, to outreach and engage with others, to make sure that they want to be part of that community. They find out more and they do the work. So, I mean, I think I have this saying behind me. You can't read it, but it's like right there. But never underestimate the power that a group of people can have on a community, on change. Never, ever underestimate. So one person can make a huge difference, but a group of people can move mountains. So.
Oh, that was so beautifully said. Sounds like poetry. Thank you. I know we have a couple comments. I definitely want to go and see who's here with us. Let's check them out. Michelle, thank you so much for being here. There were some beautiful wellness classrooms made by our leadership team and chamber here. I saw the phones, etc., last night at community event, but then there's no action in what, and I can't see the bottom.
There's no action in what to do in place. It's great, but it's a Band-Aid. She's
Yes,
saying
it
that
is.
it's great that they have this space, but what are you doing with it, and how do you use it to do more?
Mm-hmm. We are seeing a lot of Band-Aids. You're absolutely correct, Michelle. We need action, right? And so it's time for action. So please join us, Chason. I love the work again. I see we have Kevin. And please excuse me, I don't have my glasses, so I do need some help with.
Kevin Moreau, our buddy from the Hounds. Kevin Moreau is like, he's my brother from another mother. I love him. Hello, my friend. But he's saying just sharing a smile and looking at someone in the eyes can save a life. Literally. Doing something doesn't have to mean spending tons of time and money, although nonprofits definitely can use it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with you want to support a nonprofit. You don't have to give them money. Money is great, but you don't have to give them money. You can give of your time, of your resources, of your actions. So I love that, Kevin, and thank you for being here.
Also, Chason, if people have got skills, specific skills, and they can come to you and say, I've got this skill or that skill, or this is what I am, it's my profession, how can you use me? Because some people just think, well, I'd be no good. Why would they need an accountant, or why would they need a whatever? But actually, yes, please, because
Yeah,
every single charity, every single organization has to do accounts, right?
absolutely.
So it's 2 hours a month. That was all it takes, because there's so few people spending money coming in and going out. There's an opportunity, you know. I just think people think they can't help because they don't either have the skills or they don't have the time or the money. And I think the answer is forget the money, find the time, and find out what skills you've got that you could bring to the party. Because I'm pretty sure that somewhere down the line, somebody will be incredibly grateful for whatever you bring.
And that's part of what answers Jane's question. She says, why do you think people don't get involved? And I think there's two main reasons. One, they make the assumption that what they have to offer, no one needs.
Exactly.
And that's a poor assumption, because guaranteed, you people will find it. You say, we have an onboarding process, and we have a committee that works with us to help bring our partners in, and we have them fill out this Google form, and it says, basically it tells us more about you, and then it tells us how much time do you have to spend, and what do you like to do, so we could plug you in and get you in on a committee to where, hey, I like to do this, I like to do that. I'm not going to ask you to do something you don't want to do, or you don't like to do, or you're uncomfortable doing. That's just, people won't want to do that. But there's two major reasons. One, they make assumptions, just like you talked about, or they feel like because it's nonprofit, that all nonprofits, they're just going to hammer them for money. And that's not the case. That's just not the case. So, I mean, it really, literally, it's like, you can give 1 hour a month and do incredible work to help your local nonprofit. 1 hour a month. And I mean, it's like you said, find the time. If you care about wanting to create actionable change, then find the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those questions, Michelle and Jane. And we have another question. I made the screen bigger on my end, but now it's blocked.
So how does, Michelle Whiteside asks, so how does one start to help make change with action for healing and change? Martha, you may want to answer that.
One second. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm over here messing with my computer. Now I can't see the question.
So basically, if you're talking about healing,
So
if you're talking about how do you make change for healing, and then how do you make change? Listen, I think that people that volunteer, this is from my own perspective and from doing it myself, you get so much out of it. You get so much out of volunteering. You get such a feeling of giving. You get such a feeling of reward. And that might only be 2 hours a month, but my goodness, do you feel good for doing it, right? So if people get that feeling, the dopamine levels go up. They feel good about themselves. They feel like, hey, I've just done something really worthy. They will tell someone else. And then before you know where you are, you get a little army of people who will all want that dopamine level to go up. And it doesn't cost you anything. And you're volunteering down at the food bank or doing whatever you're doing. And I just think that everybody needs to just understand that as part of volunteering, wellness can be reached too. They go hand in hand. Mentally to help somebody else, there is nothing stronger than you feeling like you've got a worth. So you help one more person, and now your own personal self-worth goes up. Your equity goes up because you've helped someone. So for me, it really is about making sure that people understand that by helping and supporting charities, by doing things, getting involved, your own dopamine levels go up, your own feeling of euphoria goes up, and therefore, why wouldn't you, right? You get to do something amazing, and it costs you nothing, And at the end of the day, you can step back and say, I tried. I was able to help. That's huge.
As Kevin Moreau said earlier, it doesn't, kindness is free. It doesn't cost anything to look someone in the eye and check in on them and say, you know what, I see you. I see you. How can I help you?
Yeah.
So
Beautiful,
Well,
beautiful,
Martha,
beautiful.
you said you asked somebody their name. Or was it Jane? Jane, I think it might have been Jane the other day said she asked somebody their name, and it was the first time somebody had asked their name in,
Mhm.
years. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Acknowledging them for who they are. Don't just pass. If you can't give anything out, like care bags or money or water, anything, just smile at them. That will mean so much to them, and that's free. So I know we're coming close to an end. I wanted to say a little bit more, but we're getting close on time here, actually already. So, Chason, please let everyone know here how they can get in contact with you and who you'd like to connect with.
well, yeah, real quick, you can find us on YouTube, our website, which is right down there, and on LinkedIn, HR4U Incorporated. And anybody who wants to get involved, wants to find out more about what we're doing, anyone in an area that it doesn't matter. We have advocates in 5 different countries, all over the United States. But we're especially looking for people in the New York area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area that want to help us build the physical transformation kitchen, which is our boots on the ground. And I'm always willing to jump on a call with someone and talk more about how I can support them and what we can do to help. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Chason. Ollie, please. Any
Well,
last words?
I want to share. I want to share because the comments are on fire. So I want to share
Woo!
what Michelle shared. I don't know how to do on this scale. I do a lot of service in our communities, but this with the teens whole new ball game. The hairdresser who is determined to take a bite, make a dent, all new world, just but heart and soul purpose, Paulette, I agree, it's amazing. um, um, to see eyes light up and lives change very simply. So that was she shared. So any reaction about that?
No,
Oh,
bravo to you for taking action. Bravo
mhm.
for you for taking steps.
And then Kevin shared
Thank
on
you,
YouTube.
Michelle.
Kevin shared on YouTube, being seen, heard, and valued, what we all long for the most.
Social
And
alchemy, my friend.
yeah, and Chris, so true, kindness go a long way, show love. Lots of other comments Michelle shared. Power of one, believing in that, it's being the smoke, the kindness. Yep, Marsha. And
Oh,
Jane, great conversation. So thank you everyone, and
thank you,
including
everybody.
the replay team. The replay team, feel free to share because you can watch this on YouTube and LinkedIn forever. So feel free to share to your network, to your community, to bring awareness to what we are doing. And I'm going to share again. Bear with me. I'm going to share again the link for Chason, his website, and feel free to connect with Chason in LinkedIn.
Martha, can you just say a little bit more about where you can find Connect Hub and where we can connect
Yes.
Impact Hub and money and all that sort of thing, please?
Yes, yes, yes. So please connect with us here on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. Connect Impact Hub. Thank you, Ali, for link trees right here. So if you can make a donation, if you want to become a partner, or if you want to volunteer with us in the community, please reach out. Let's work together. And donations, we do go through Gift Butter. We do have the QR codes right here on the screen. So please support us in any way that you can. Thank you so much, Paulette. And Paulette, please go ahead and share as we're getting ready to close out now.
I just want to say kudos to everybody. You know, anyone that can heart and soul into something, it's just an amazing thing to see. And you know, everybody should be so grateful to you for what you're doing. And I know that Martha's going to do exactly the same down here. We're gonna make huge mountains. We're gonna move them, but it's gonna take time and a bit of work, and we need some money. So we're gonna get the begging bowl out and phone a few companies, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Thank you
And
so much.
finally, I want also to share what Grace T shared. It warms my heart to see companies offer volunteer opportunities. It's a win-win for everyone, good for the company's image, but even more importantly, it boosts team spirit and gives employees a chance to give back, which can be incredible fulfilling. So that was she shared.
Oh, well
Thank you,
said,
Grace
Yes,
T.
Grace.
Well,
absolutely.
great.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, so much for being here with us. Connect with us tomorrow. We'll be having another wonderful guest speaker. And so with that, we will see you later. Bye.